Sandboarding is a board sport similar to snowboarding. It is a recreational activity and takes place on sand dunes rather than snow-covered mountains. This board sport has adherents throughout the world, most prevalently in desert areas or coastal areas with beach dunes. It involves riding across or down a dune while standing with both feet strapped to a board, though some sandboarders use a board without bindings. It is less popular than snowboarding, partly because it is very difficult to build a mechanized ski lift on a sand dune, and so participants generally must walk back up to the top. Alternatively, they may ride a dune buggy or all-terrain vehicle back to the top of the dune. On the other hand, dunes are normally available year-round as opposed to ski resorts, which are usually seasonal. Josh Tench, professional sandboarding champion, holds the Guinness Book of World Records entry for the longest distance backflip at 44 feet 10. Tench is also a four-time world sandboarding champion and holds 3 world records. Eric Johnson, a professional snowboarder and sandboarder, holds the Guinness World Record for speed on a sandboard at 51 miles per hour. Unofficial speeds of 60 miles per hour have reportedly been clocked. Equipment. The sandboard base is much harder than a snowboard, and is built mostly out of Formica or Laminex, with special base materials now being made for this sport. To glide in the sand, the board bottom is often waxed, usually with a paraffin-based sandboard wax, before a run. Afterwards, the bottom of the board may have a lightly sanded look to it, while race base tends to polish smoother and glossier with use. Most terrain sandboards are composed of hardwood ply, while full-size sandboards are wood, fiberglass, and plastic composite. However, a snowboarding base will sometimes work on steeper dunes. Worldwide. Sandboarding in Australia. Little Sahara on Kangaroo Island, South Australia, is a heritage area with a sand dune system roughly covering 2 square kilometers. The highest dune is approximately 70 meters above sea level. Lucky Bay, about 30 kilometers south of Kalbarri, in Western Australia, is another sandboarding hotspot. Sandboarding tours are offered in the area. The Stockton Dunes, 2.3 hours north from Sydney. Stockton-Bight Sand Dunes system is up to 1 kilometer wide, 32 kilometers long, and covers an area of over 4,200 hectares. The massive sand dunes climb up to 40 meters high. Located only minutes from the center of Nelson Bay, it is the largest sand dune system in Australia. Sandboarding in Egypt. The best sand dunes for sandboarding in Egypt include the Great Sand Sea near Siwa Oasis in Egypt's western desert, the Catania Sand Dunes, El Safra and Hadjuda Dunes midway between Dahab and St. Catherine in Sinai. Sandboarding is said to be originated in Egypt in the time of the pharaohs, where they slid down dunes on pieces of wood. Sandboarding in Namibia. Namibia features sand skiing, which is similar to sandboarding, performed with skis instead of a board. Most of the sand skiing is performed in the Namib Desert dunes around Swakopmund and Walvis Bay. With a special permit, it is sometimes possible to sand ski at the world's highest dunes in Sossusvlei. In the area, they use 2 different sandboarding styles: the lie-down, where the rider lies upon a special-made board and slides headlong on the sand dunes, and stand-up boarding, where the techniques are quite similar with those of snowboarding. Any style you choose, the fun is guaranteed. The rides in the coastal desert of Namibia can offer the right adrenaline dose. Henrik Mayer, a German living in Namibia for some 10 years, set a Guinness World Record in speed sand skiing on the 6th of June 2010. He reached a speed of 92.12 kilometers per hour. Sandboarding has been a commercial tourism activity in Swakopmund since 1994, when Christian Vart set up Namibia Sandboards. In 1995, Beth Saro and Chris Jason started taking holidaymakers sandboarding on Masonite boards. Using Masonite boards involves lying down whilst sliding down the dunes and is similar to sledding. A few years later they bought Namibia Sandboards and started offering stand-up sandboarding as well. Between 2002 and 2004, the South African Sandboarding League held competitions on the Matterhorn dune located between Swakopmund and Walvis Bay. Competition events included dual slalom, border cross and big air events. In 2005 and 2006, Alter Action held sandboarding competitions at Matterhorn, but the competitions no longer formed part of the South African Sandboarding League during those years. Sandboarding in South Africa, after some pioneers like Derek Bredenkamp who boarded Swakopmund around 1974. Commercial operators began offering sandboarding to tourists since 1994. In 2000, the Sandboarding South Africa League was established. Sandboarding competitions started in 2001 when SAR camps were held in 2002 up until 2004. The league collapsed. Then the sport was revived again in 2007 with weekly sandboarding sessions in and around Cape Town and Gauteng. Sandboarding in the U.S. Sand Master Park, located in Florence, Oregon, USA, is the world's first sandboard park with 40 acres of private sculpted sand dunes and a full-time pro shop. Sand Master Park was opened in the year 2000 by sandboard pioneer Lon Beale, and introduces sandboarding to about 25,000 people each year. Dune Riders International is the governing body for competitive sandboarding worldwide and sanctions 3 events each season at Sand Master Park. Sandboarding in South America. Peru is known for having large sand dunes in Ica, some reaching up to 2 kilometers. Duna Grande in Ica is the largest sand dune in the world. The Copa Sandboarding Peru has been held near Paracas every year since 2009. There are also great dunes near the capital city in Chilca, Chile. Sandboarding is practiced throughout the north of the country, including the Medanoso dunes in Copiapó, Puerto Viejo Beach in Caldera, excellent dunes in Iquique, and some near Vina del Mar. Sandboarding in Central America. Nicaragua is home to Cerro Negro, the youngest volcano in Central America. Since it has steep slopes and volcanic sand, it is possible to sandboard down this active volcano. Sandboarding in Europe. A rather small sand mountain is the Monte Caolino in Hirschau, Germany. Being equipped with a lift to the 120 meters top, it is also the host of the annual Sandboarding World Championships events. Sandboarding World Championship, the SWC, was held annually in Hirschau, Germany at Monte Caolino, currently also the site of Europe's largest sand hill. Riders can board down dunes over 300 feet tall, riding into a water landing site at the base of the hill. It has a sand lift, the only one in the world. Events include slalom, freestyle and sandboard cross. Sand Master Jam, annual sandboarding event that takes place in Florence, Oregon at Sand Master Park. This event occurs in late spring or early summer. The Sand Master Jam has been held since 1996. Pan American Sandboarding Challenge. This event takes place in July in Aquaraz, Ceará, Brazil at Prainhas Beach. It features amateurs and professionals who wish to compete in freestyle and jump events. Sand Sports Super Show, annual outdoor event for all sand sports, including sandboarding. This three-day event takes place in September in Costa Mesa, California at the Orange County Fair and Expo Center. International Sandboarding Competition, from the 1st to the 5th of May, 2014. The International Sandboarding Competition will take place in Egypt.